Rumble Creator Program. A lot of people have been waiting on this one. I said that I was going to give this thing 90 days and then report back. The good, the bad, the ugly. So here you go. In this video, we're going to discuss the premise of the program, the process to apply, the benefits of being in the program, the requirements for payment, the requirements to stay enrolled, my personal numbers and earnings, which I think maybe breaks some rules, but I'm going to do it anyway. The pros of being in the program, the cons of being in the program, and then my conclusions. So at the end of this, you should have a good idea of whether or not you think this is something that you want to pursue, and then maybe you'll have some agreements or disagreements with my opinion. So please go crazy in the comments, share this with anyone you know who may be interested in this or has participated in the program themselves to see if they have a similar experience or if I'm just way off. But I wish to be very transparent on this, as I've said all along the way to my following. And I am, by the way, I'm Jeff D. I host ThoughtCast over on Rumble. I have had a background for about 4 years in content creation. I've done podcasts, I've done skits, I've done reaction type content, I've done gaming streams, I've done interviews. I currently have a Monday through Friday daily show and then a Wednesday night panel or interview or something like that show, and then a couple of gaming streams a week. So ThoughtCast is where all of my content lives now as far as live streaming, and Rumble is the only platform that I do live streaming on now. That's not how it's always been, but we'll get into pros and cons of why I've chosen Rumble as the home base for my following as well. So if you like this kind of content, please leave a like, follow, share, repost, all the cool stuff, and let's get right into it. They saw a bunch of creators putting lots of time and even full-time effort into their creation, and they wanted to beef up a little bit of the possibility for monetization, especially early on, because there's a lot of streamers out there that are like base, they just got started. I don't even know what I'm saying. We're going to edit all this out. Now, one thing that's very important is this is coming from a position of a very small creator. I have less than 1,000 followers on my Rumble channel right now. I have created a TikTok account with 14,000 followers over on there, and I had a YouTube channel, keyword, with 23 or 24,000 before it was deleted. Long story, another time. The Rumble Creator Program is an introductory level offer for people who are getting started in content creation. This may also be beneficial to very large creators, but I really have to see a better look at how they're calculating their figures, and we can talk about that once we get further into the program. Now, first things first, the process to apply is very simple. You have to use the Rumble Studio, which is an application that they have created that hosts your live stream, and you must use that and go live for 30 hours over the period of a month. I did that in the first month that was offered in February, and once I hit my 30 hours, a button popped up in the dashboard that said I was able to apply. At that point, I applied, and then a few days or a week later, I got the email back saying I was accepted and that I would be enrolled into the next round of the creator program, which was the month of March. At that point, I was given a blue check mark, and I was listed in the premium creator section on the Rumble homepage, which had a every 15-minute cycle through to put all the members of that program on the front page. This would eventually be updated to where everyone who went live was prioritized on the front page. And then later it was updated to just be gone completely. And we'll talk about that later as well. Very important. Now, the requirements for March were that you must use Rumble Studio, again, for 30 hours. Of those 30 hours, you had to lock the stream down to Rumble Premium only for at least 5 hours. Now, some people were very upset about this because they didn't want to put their content behind a paywall. I don't really know what to say about that other than the Rumble Premium subscriber base is what funds apparently the whole program. So that's kind of what we're signing up for. It is to be a partner to Rumble and then to push their Rumble Premium service by offering your own content that is a part of that Rumble Premium service. So we could just agree to disagree if you don't like that premise, but to me, it's just Rumble is trying to push Rumble Premium and then offering us this program and money to sponsor content that is put behind Rumble Premium only. So that's what they wanted, and they wanted 5 hours a month minimum in order to qualify and be paid in the month of March. For the month of April, they wanted 30 hours of Rumble Studio to be used. They wanted, again, 5 hours of the 30 hours at least to be locked down to premium only. And then they had an additional metric where they wanted you to have 200 hours of watch time over the course of the month. Once again, this was something that was pushed back on by some of the creators, and hurts my brain a little bit. If you're going live on Rumble Studio for 30 hours, that means you need an average viewer quantity of 6 in order to qualify. If you're not having 6 viewers over the course of your 30 hours, you're not ready to be monetized. So you got some work to do. All right, so I completed 90 days. The first 30 days was to apply in February. The second 30 days was to participate in the program in March. And then the last 30 of 90 days was April, participating in the program itself. We're going to get into the pros and the cons. This is going to get hopefully helpful, hopefully insightful, possibly spicy, and I think you'll want to get to the end here. So first, we'll get into the pros. This, I would say, is the easiest money you will ever make with your clothes on the internet. So for that, I'm going to give it a pro for introductory ease of getting in there. You can stream from a freaking cell phone using Rumble Studio and get 30 hours with bad lighting and bad content and bad everything. I mean, you just hit play and get on there and you can stream your heart away and you can get qualified. I believe that Rumble audience is a great audience to have in your corner. They're great people, great patriots, and honestly, I haven't found a better group of people to join my shows and my streams and my content and just hang out with you. So I give an A+ to the audience of Rumble. Another A+ is going to the community of creators on Rumble. It's like a ragtag motley crew of people who have been kicked off the internet from all sorts of places, and they have all kind of found their way here, and they know what it's like to get kicked in the face over and over again by the powers that be, and then get back up and face another day of it. So they're very helpful to each other. There's a silent respect that we have for each other, and we really want each other to succeed if at all possible. I know one of the things that I really enjoy is the raid feature. When they brought that to Rumble, I actually showed Bongino's McGroins how to do that, which I was pretty proud of. And then I started setting up to where I was raiding slightly smaller streamers than myself at the end of almost every one of my Monday through Friday shows. And it became this whole big event where we could take somebody who is basically unknown, and because Rumble is not oversaturated, we could drag them up to the top 10 in their like gaming category and put them on the front page of Rumble. And, you know, it's just kind of a cool thing all around to help out the little guys. Another pro is the constant updates that we get from the leadership at Rumble. These guys are on top of things. They're moving very quickly, and they're really keeping us up to date, especially, you know, follow on X. That's where all the information is moving at light speed right now. But between Chris Pavlovsky and Rick Ricala, I would say we have access to the change makers in the program and in the platform. I know that me personally, I have less than 1,000 followers, and I have been addressed directly many times on many issues by the head of product development and even the CEO of Rumble And I think that's just super cool that they actually care what we think, and then they see that we kind of know what we're talking about. And when we see an issue and they can fix an issue, they try to actively fix it. And then they report to us, it's been fixed, try it. And voila, Rumble is fast becoming the best technical platform out there. And it's because they give power to the creators, they care about the feedback, and then they actually actively implement change based on that feedback. And the speed is insane. I worked in the corporate world for 9 years, and when I was in there, I was using software from 1997. You have people who are gamers, you have people who are empathetic to our social causes, i.e. being shadow banned, censored, blocked, whatever. And they don't necessarily endorse every single thing every single person says or does, but if it is within the law, they're going to let you be on their platform, and that is the best we got. I mean, there's nowhere else at the moment where you're going to be able to say what you want, do what you want, have the technological backing of a company like Rumble to be able to use their platform and then have it all be monetized at the same time. Having gifted subscriptions, having paid subscriptions, having an integration to an outside platform via locals, and then the Rumble Premium connection with this creator program. It gives you a lot of opportunities, and then rants, you know, like a typical donation type thing. They have a lot of opportunities for you to monetize your content. It's definitely worth looking into as a streaming platform for sure. So the last pro that I'm going to give to the program and to Rumble as a whole is the lack of a tilted algorithm. If you are somebody who didn't think inside the box, you were heavily punished in the last 10 years. They do not have powers that be pulling strings behind the scenes to hide content that they do not like from the people they do not like. People that many people do not like are very prominent with followings, and they are unblocked and they are uncensored and they are left up, as I said, as long as they're following the law and staying within the very reasonable content guidelines of Rumble. I find that a massive positive. It's not as big a deal for different types of content, but if you're in any kind of culture war or political space, or let's be honest, a lot of the gamers are getting hit for stupid content, copyright, inappropriate chat, things like that just are stupid in other platforms, and you really just don't have to deal with that on Rumble at this moment right now. I've been very positive, but now we're going to get into the cons of the program and of Rumble. Con number 1 is Rumble Studio must be utilized for this process. Now, there are some workarounds that have gotten drastically better, but when I first started this in the pilot of the program, I went from having a very clean and crispy and fast stream to a very clunky and ugly and low-res stream with a super long chat delay, and I thought I was going to throw my PC out the window because I was going crazy. I had spent all this time perfecting the craft just to qualify for this program and kind of throw it away for a little bit. You're welcome, because as soon as we started doing that, we had meetings, we had streams, we had chat threads where we were dumping all of the bad that was going on with Rumble Studio to the product developers, and Rick Ricala and his team took that away and they fixed almost everything. I say almost everything because they have an RTMP pass-through for OBS that has come out in a beta version for some people. And I'm going to act like I'm not heartbroken that I'm in like the last wave to get access to this thing. I do all the alerts and a dozen scenes and all this crazy stuff. I clone myself. I mean, it's nuts. And I do it live. And yeah, I'm going to be like the last person to get access to that pass-through. So I'm a little salty, but I don't expect them to know or care who I am. But yes, we do have the ability to do an ingress through RTMP or a WHIP. If this is all Egyptian to you, don't worry about it. For the people that use outside clients like OBS or Streamlabs or something like that, we do have an ability to ingress into it with a low latency stream key, and you can more or less get closer to a high res. But the RTMP pass-through, which should be phasing into everyone else in the very near future, should solve that completely. Now, one pro that I did not discuss, but comes on the back of that negative of you must use Rumble Studio. Rumble Studio comes with a campaign section that allows you to run ads. So during your stream, you are able to go through the list of campaigns of people that want to run an ad on your stream. You can click which one you qualify for based on how many viewers you have live and an estimate of how much they would pay you for your time to read the ad. You can click on it, read the ad as it puts a barcode on the screen and a link below your video, all automated. And that money can be dropped right into your total for the month as a result of using the Rumble Studio app. Now, a negative on Rumble itself would just be that it is a relatively small organic live audience compared to many of the other streaming platforms. So they do feature the lineup, which is some of the biggest streams out there, and there are people that come to Rumble for those. However, if you're looking at the pool of organic traffic by itself in, say, the gaming section or something like that, it is not that large of a number. Another con would be the locking content down to Rumble Premium only, because it will be locked behind the paywall of Premium. So all of that time that you are streaming, it will put a label saying that there's premium content here, and then people who do not have a Rumble Premium account will just not be able to see that part of those streams. If you go on to one of those pages, you can see as we scroll down, the green Rumble Premium tag on all of the streams that have premium content. One of the cons worth noting is that if somebody sees the green premium tag, they know at least part of that stream is going to be locked behind a paywall. And if they're a casual follower who doesn't have premium, they may be less likely to click on your page or on that individual video, knowing they're not going to be able to see all of it. That is something that is just a reality of having content behind a paywall. Now, going back to something I said earlier, they had once had a blue check mark for the premium creators and a premium creator section that featured all of us in it. This is no longer there. Once again, later I'll say probably why, but it is no longer there. And with that not being there, one issue that I would definitely bring up is what is the partnership in growing the channels with Rumble at this moment? Because we don't really have a larger amount of visibility than any other Tom, Dick, or Harry on Rumble, with no distinguishing marks. There's no blue check mark. There's no algorithm that's boosting us. There's no specific prioritization of being featured that we know about. There's no list of sponsors that are working with Rumble to go after small creators or just any size creators that are within the program. So we're not seeing really a organic growth that's come from being part of this program. We have no additional reach whatsoever, and a con of Rumble, which, you know, it's a pro that there's no one negatively tipping the scales with an algorithm, but there's no algorithm at all. So if you're brand new and you're streaming to one person or two people or three people, you're just going to be at the bottom of page 7 in whatever content category you choose. Now, this is not different than other content locations, which I need to say. This is very important. If you go on Twitch or you go on YouTube or you go on one of these places live, if you are small and you don't have many people watching you or engaging with your content, you're not going to get artificially boosted by those places. But with Rumble, it's selective to whoever gets featured at that period of time. And then the people that have the raw highest numbers are hitting the homepage in those different sections. So your job, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to drive enough people to your own content on Rumble so that you can make it up to the home page or at least the first page of the category that you're on, and then you'd be able to get a little bit of organic traffic here and there. Another thing we're going to talk about is with the payment. As I said before, I don't know how they calculate it, and this is a negative. What gets measured improves. You set goals, you can achieve them. If you don't know what the target is, it's very difficult to set goals around reaching said target. So I would really like to see Rumble come out a little bit more transparently and say, hey, this many watch hours is worth this, or this many new followers is worth this, or this many new Rumble Premium subscriptions under your tag is X. You know, any of these things, just to be a little bit more open about how you reach the dollar amount that you're giving us would matter. Another part of that, I'm hitting 5 times or more than 5 times the number of premium only hours. Is there any difference in what I'm being paid versus somebody who hits just 5? Because I'm putting a lot of my content behind a paywall for the benefit of Rumble, because I'm trying to drive Rumble Premium and this creator program in a legitimate partnership between me and Rumble. And so I'm curious, does Rumble recognize that? Is that paid back to me in this program? Because some people, and I'm not throwing shade, I do not wish to be disrespectful in any way, but some people have never earned a penny on the internet. They have not had enough donations or anything to get their first paycheck from Rumble. And this Rumble Creator Program, that $500 they got in March, is the first monies they ever got. And they had nothing at all to lose in order to try and achieve those metrics. No problem with that. I have no disrespect for that. However, there are other people who made well over what the Rumble Creator Program paid out on Rumble and in other places off of Rumble monthly. So those people have a trade-off. You say, drive people to Rumble Premium. We've been driving people to our subscriptions. We've been driving people to locals. We've been driving people to gift subscriptions, to donate, to buy me a coffee or Patreon or any of these other things. We've been driving people to support us in different ways, and they have. And so our question is, if we turn around and put all of our effort to driving to Rumble Premium, what is the money coming back to us for actually achieving that? Because we did lose money from the normal way that we are bringing in support and income by driving our followings to Rumble Premium. So we lost money to gain money through this program. That's a very important distinction. So like I said, it's no shade at the people who are just getting started, and they're not trading anything for anything. They're just gaining with this opportunity, and I encourage you to go after it. But for the people that have more at stake, who have been working on content creation for a long time and have supporters that want good content from us, we need to know what we're getting out of Rumble in money and in support and in exposure, because it's not just about dollars and cents. I would trade all of the money. I would trade every single penny from the Rumble Premium program for more eyeballs on my stream, because I could generate money through eyeballs. Okay. Last thing, the last con, which I have to cover, is the clear and obvious gaming of the system that went on and goes on. And this goes on everywhere all the time. We know it, you see it. People cheat. So with the Rumble Creator Program, there were definitely people who were cheating the system. We saw people botting. We saw people abusing copyright, playing whole TV shows, whole movies, limitless back-to-back full songs on like a music station. People were restreaming news channels in their entirety, just a full screen restream of Fox News or OANN or whatever. All these different channels And then the other thing, which we talked about them getting rid of the page, the dedicated area for the creator program people. There were people that were doing low value content, 24/7 streams. They were sleeping. They were having animated pictures while people were just chatting. It was just a chat room. And then, yeah, the blatant abuses of copyright, either documentaries or movies or news channels or TV shows or anything, number of those things. But they were staying live so that they stayed on the front page and they could get all of that organic growth of people seeing them while on the front page. I remember at one point I was live and it showed 5 people live. I was one of them. And then 2 of the other people had full copyright prohibited content playing. The issue is, if you're a viewer on Rumble, a spectator, and then you go and you look at that creator program lineup and you see multiple people with low quality streams, with low value streams that are just plain theft streams, you're probably just not even going to give any credence to that list anymore. And it ends up driving people away. So the YouTube algorithm, when it's based on meritocracy and the user experience, it drives the best content towards the top. Like I said, people can put their foot on the scales if they like or dislike you, which makes it very corruptible. But the general idea of letting the supreme content rise to the top is a good one. And I think Rumble needs to find a way to measure whether it's chat engagement or number of hours or concurrent viewers for a amount of time on a page. I don't know what metrics, and maybe I'm not the right person to talk to about that. But there's got to be a way to measure that a stream is going well and is liked by the people who are watching it, and then you can boost that stream because eyeballs that get on that stream are going to stay in that stream and subscribe and pay money and join Rumble Premium, etc., etc. There's got to be a way. So the jackasses gaming the system stole our ability to be seen by a lot of organic traffic, and I noticed I had gained quite a bit of followers in the month of March, while I was in there and streaming constantly. I do 2-hour streams. So Monday through Friday, about 4 to 6, I do a stream. And then Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern time, I do a 2-hour stream. Friday afternoon and Sunday night, I do a 2-hour stream. So 8 2-hour streams a week. I was not able to stay on that list because of all the 24/7 streams, many of which had very, very low quality content on them. That's a bit of a rant and a rave and I'm butthurt about it. You can say it. It's fine. No problem. We're about to look at the numbers that I reached for the creator program and the dollars that I earned. But the first thing I want to show is an X post that came from the CEO of Rumble before the first payments went out. Chris Pavlovsky said on March 27th, 2025, in the March run, all creators approved in our creator program will make no less than $500. If your payout is near the $500 mark, it is because watch hours and the benefit to the Rumble platform was very low. You'll need to step up your game. A new requirement for April will be released in the coming days. This new requirement will tailor the program to creators that provide the most value to the platform. This will end up weeding out creators that take budget away from high-performing creators. Value comes in many forms: watch hours, chat engagement, new users signing up to Rumble that come to watch your show, premium signups, plus more. This is a very important thing to keep in your mind before going into the numbers. The first month, there was a guaranteed $500. I don't know how that's created out around the other numbers, but I just know that there was a guaranteed 500. So with that being said, here are my numbers for the month of March. I hit 70.4 out of the 30 Rumble studio hours. I hit 26.3 out of the 5 Rumble Premium only hours, and I earned $647.39. meaning the guaranteed 500 plus 147.39. As I said before, I really don't know how they calculated the earnings from one bit to the next, how much of it was guaranteed, how much of it was blended in, or, you know, once you reach a certain threshold, you get X additional. No idea. I really don't. We'll get into my thoughts on that later, but I just want you to know that's the raw numbers for the month of March. Bear in mind, the required amount of Rumble hours used was 30. I hit 70.4, meaning over 2 times the amount. And then we were looking for 5 at least premium only hours, and I hit 26, which is over 5 times the amount. Now, let's move on to April. In April, I hit 79.5 out of the 30 required Rumble Studio hours. With the new metric of hours watched, I hit 1,890 out of the 200 that were required. And then for the Rumble Premium only hours, I hit 27.7 out of the 5 that were required. And this earned me, for the month of April, $374.98. So keep in mind, from the minimum that's required to be eligible to stay in the program, we hit over twice that in the Rumble Studio hours. In the hours watched, we hit over 9 times the required. And then in the Rumble Premium hours only, again, over 5 times. And we did actually eclipse the prior month in both of the repeated metrics. And then, like I said, 9x the new metric. And we received almost half the money. So the $500 really skewed my knowledge of what metric is worth what. I do understand that this provided a lot of helpful insight, feedback, data points for the improvements of Rumble Studio and for Rumble to work out the kinks of this program and to continue working on this program. So there was a big value in this to them. So now you know the numbers that I hit and the dollars that I have earned using this program. So let's get to the conclusions. Overall, I would say this is an A as an introductory level offer and opportunity for somebody who's getting into streaming or content creation and they're trying to get their feet wet in the live scene. I will say Rumble does not have enough organic traffic for you to make Rumble your one and only location that you exist on the internet and expect to go from completely unknown to thriving and financially independent without driving traffic from some other more discoverable source. I think that's a fool's errand at this point, and I cannot point to a single person on the app who was unknown anywhere else and now has such a gigantic following and monetization that they can leave their job and just exist on Rumble only. I will say Rumble is a fantastic place to bring a following, no matter where you've brought it from. So if you're big on TikTok, or you're big on YouTube, or you're big on Instagram, or you're big on Twitter X, you can bring a following to do live streams too on Rumble, and that would be the smartest choice that you can make at this time, in my opinion. And yeah, once again, it's just my opinion. If you're someone like me, I had 3 TikTok accounts killed. I had a YouTube account killed, censored on Facebook and everywhere else, and I never had a problem with Rumble. They've never threatened to take money from me for controversial opinions. Rumble just doesn't care. It's not their deal to meddle in the opinions of people with free speech. So personally, I will continue to participate in the Rumble Creator Program. I would like to know how they pay, what metrics they use, and the algorithms or multipliers that they use, so that I know if I'm on the right trajectory and what to prioritize in hours and watch time, etc. Another thing, I know I had a long list here of gripes and just concerns. I don't hold ill will to Rumble for any of the issues or angst or opportunities they have to fix or improve the program. The reality is, I signed up in the pilot, in the alpha version of this thing, and it was not ready to go, but we started anyways. So I'm very impressed with how much they have improved, how much they have changed. I don't agree with all of the changes, as I've said, but I do like that they have watched and reflected on this. And one of my biggest issues, which I had said with the monetization and the transparency of how they're paying, I highly suspect the reason it is so cryptic and unknown is because they probably didn't know how and what they were going to pay people before they had a whole bunch of data points on who's achieving what, at what levels, what hours, what dollar amounts are coming in from Rumble Premium. All of that information pretty much needed to be known before they started paying people. So I'm not that surprised that they haven't collected the information and put it out. So as a last note, I want to say a big thank you to Chris Pavlovsky for creating this opportunity for us as independent creators who've been on the platform and hammering away over time to just be able to do a little something extra and different that adds a layer of monetization into our programming. And it's been very cool to be able to do that, to be able to set goals and then try to achieve them around specific metrics. I want to thank Rick Ricala for his team and everything that they're doing to constantly improve things, and hopefully for the rapid email I get with access to the RTMP pass-through. Come on, man. But yeah, you guys have been great. I hope this has been informative. I hope this lets people know what they can expect or should expect out of the program. I hope that I do not overpromise or underpromise in what this is about and what this would offer you as a small, medium, or even large creator. This is just my experience as somebody who's made content for quite a while and who has still under 1,000 followers on Rumble. But that's it. If you enjoyed it, like, follow, share, repost, all the cool stuff. You can catch me, Thoughtcast Jeff on X, Jeff D on YouTube, and Thoughtcast on Rumble, which is the only place I'll go live. See you next time.